So moving on to topic 2. So this is where the show is going to be a little bit more interesting. So we're moving to Jeff's topic. So Jeff's topic is questions.
Oh, I was gonna say, are you gonna? Do you have this card? Are you
No,
gonna?
that was my segue. Sorry.
Okay,
Jeff's topic is.
I have 2 quick questions, I guess. If we wanted, I have 3 quick questions. I can't segue well into any of these.
Okay, that's fine.
I guess the closest one is, since we're talking about aliens and weird looking people, and we're in October. Halloween's coming up. I'm doing Scarytober for my channel.
Twitch.tv/Jeffrey.
Yeah, and YouTube.
Twitch.
I'm not plugging myself.
Jeffrey Gaming.
I'm not plugging myself. I wasn't gonna.
What up?
I'm not because I don't think I'm good enough to do it. No, it doesn't matter why I don't want to. We know I hate me. I guess first I should check, because I understand some people don't do this. Do you both celebrate? As a child, did you partake in Halloween?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay, because as I've gotten older, I've found people that don't, and they don't let their kids.
Yeah.
And I judge them for it.
They're weird, yeah.
Which will come into another thing later on.
Okay.
Okay.
So, do you, what's your favorite Halloween costume you've ever had? Can you pinpoint that? I can. But I'm a person who hates change, so I had a lot of repeat years.
Okay, so I got one that comes to mind. I don't know if it was particularly my favorite, but
if it comes to mind over everything else, it's probably...
So I was Darth Maul one year. That was pretty cool. And
nice.
my mom did the whole face paint and everything. Didn't have any horns, but, that was fun.
Did you shave your head?
No, I didn't shave my head. Nah. I wasn't that committed. I was like, what, 9? If that? But no, I had... I remember wearing, it was one of those Halloweens where it was cold. I'm probably saying this...
One of those Halloweens where it's cold.
Well, no.
My Halloweens, it would snow when I was a kid.
Yeah, we had a couple of those.
Yeah.
We had a couple of those. But, I don't know if there's snow on the ground, but, it might have been, a frost. Or, it was
we had
close
falling
to
snow a couple years, I can remember.
Mm.
Not anymore. Wisconsin, now winter in Wisconsin starts in January.
So I just remember wearing, little black mittens to go with the outfit, but they were also because it was fucking cold. And then, yeah, the face paint, so... I don't know.
Shonen's not too far off.
The pirate costume for 20 years. So yeah, I think that's the one that comes to mind.
Mine kind of goes along with that. One year I was Queen Amidala.
No way.
And I had the full face paint, the full.
You know what?
Is there a picture of this?
Facial structure, this
I'm
is getting
sure
weirdly
I can find
phrenology, but your facial structure works for that too. Your bone structure and everything.
And
that might be getting too deep, but now we're literally going under the skin.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm gonna have to find a picture. I'm gonna have to find a picture so you can put it in the thumbnail when you put this on YouTube.
Well, you better hurry up because we got that trip coming up. What about you, Jeff?
For me, I was, for a number of years as a child, I was either a Ninja Turtle or Robin Hood.
Okay.
Nice.
I wanted to specifically be the Disney Fox Robin Hood.
Cool. Okay.
They don't make that costume, and my parents weren't those parents who make their kids costumes. Which I found out is a thing. Apparently some parents go crazy all in on that shit. Mine didn't.
Yeah.
They just bought stuff, which was fine because I got to dress up, and who gives a shit?
Right.
Yeah.
Especially when you're that age. When I started to get a little older, I started to make, instead of picking something, I was this generic. I always thought of it as a post-apocalyptic thing. I was like, jean jacket, gun on my hip, sword on my back, eye patch.
Cool.
I couldn't tell you what that is.
Yeah.
But it's the kind of thing you would see in a movie set in the post-apocalypse.
Mm-hmm.
And part of it was I'd gotten sick of the flimsy, thin Robin Hood Ninja Turtle outfit, and it being fucking 40 degrees, and being out for 6 hours.
Mm-hmm.
So I was I can wear jeans, I can wear a jacket, I can wear a long sleeve shirt. Perfect. And then freshman year of college came around, and I have, until Willow asks me to do a theme costume, I will never pick another costume.
Okay.
Arthur Dent. I get to wear pajamas and a robe and carry my favorite book around.
Hold on, time out.
There's no better costume than that. It's the ultimate in comfy Halloween costumes.
I'm blanking. Arthur Dent. It sounds really familiar, but I'm blanking on who that is.
Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Okay, that's why.
You
I can't
put
picture the
pajamas on,
character,
you
but
put a robe on, you carry a copy of Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, and you carry a towel around with you. That's it. You learn a couple quotes from the book, you're good to go. Anybody who's even a little bit smart or worth knowing will know what you're doing. But it's like you're covered. Like, you're too hot, oh, you take off the robe. You're going outside, put the robe back on and wrap it up. It's the perfect Halloween costume, I'm convinced.
Nice. I also want to give a shout out to, so that was my favorite childhood Halloween costume. My favorite adulthood Halloween costume is Misty.
Adulthood.
Pokemon.
Oh, wait,
Misty.
that's
See, yeah.
That's not a good one if it's cold, though.
That's the thing. Like,
that's for indoor
woman,
Halloween
like,
parties only, not for going outside.
Yeah. Like, you can, if I dress up as Misty, it's weird. You know?
A little bit. Still cool,
You
though.
could gender bend it.
Girls,
Yeah.
Halloween is one of those costumes where girls have way more options, but you also then, like, there's way more consequences. You know?
I mean, it's
Like,
not.
you have to deal with
Even
the
colder
weather.
towel.
You have to deal with, like, oh, she's just slutty, whatever. You know, no matter how much thought you put into it, if you're showing what someone thinks is even just a little too much skin, you're just slutty, whatever.
Right.
You know, so.
Yeah, that's true.
If we're going adulthood ones, I mean, I think I wore this last Halloween on stream. Pretty sure. But I think I just like it so much because it came out so well. My Ted from Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure.
Excellent choice.
Pretty much
really well.
I have pretty much everything down to the T, except for the patch on his shorts. But I'm really happy with how that came out.
That you can't go wrong with Bill and Ted ever. I was raised Catholic. I don't participate in that. The only rule I really live my life by is be excellent to each other. I think I have it actually in like my chat rules.
Probably.
I think you do.
Yeah. I don't really feel you need to have more than that.
No.
Be excellent to each other and enjoy good music.
That kind of covers it.
Yeah.
They knew what they were doing. So,
Yeah.
All right. What else you got, Jeff?
Here's a fun one.
Okay.
I was thinking about this because I ran into this instance recently, and it caused me to think about it. Do you have either preconceived notions or, I'm going to say, positive stereotypes about? Do you have any of those like that you feel comfortable talking about? Obviously,
Yeah.
I'll give mine first. Like, if I see somebody who knows sign language, and like they can speak in here, and everyone in their immediate family can speak in here, I automatically assume that they are probably one of the best people ever. Like, they're just inherently a good person.
Yeah, I see. Yeah,
There's no way to like monetize or make knowing sign language work for you. That's something you do only for other people's benefit. And if you know sign language and you don't need to know it, I would probably let you watch my kids. I'd not even probably. I would. Like, like, you're automatically a good person in my mind. You did that out of someone else's benefit. And there's no way you can't get, there's no way you can work that into business meetings or stuff like that. That's not going to drive up your stock or anything.
I see what you're saying.
It might be a cop-out answer, but just to piggyback off that, probably just anybody who does volunteer work. Like,
okay, I can see
person.
That. I mean, that you can, like, that's the kind of thing that people will go to for, like, oh, I work the soup kitchen.
True, but like,
here's a photo op.
See, I don't know how to explain it. Like, if you have to,
it's tricky because like it is a stereotype. It's a stereotype. It's something. It's not quite a prejudice, but it kind of feels that way. Like, you're like, I know this is probably not good. Like, this is not how I should view the world, but it just is.
See, if somebody has to say, I go, like your example, I go to the soup kitchen, like, I feel there's the, like, are you doing it for the right reasons? Like, if you're blatantly just, like, putting it out there. If someone asks, like, what'd you do today? And you were just answering, that's fine. But if you're like, I went to the thing and helped out. But like, if that's just something you do because you want to and can, like, I think that makes you better.
Yeah. To expand this a little further, it might make it a little easier.
Sure.
We'll broaden it from positive stereotypes to any like deeply held beliefs that don't make any fucking sense. And this one you can go kind of negative with. Like, it's the kind of thing where, like, if you get stuck in traffic, it's because whoever fucked up at the front of the line wanted to ruin your day. You know?
Uh-huh.
Or, for me, it's like, I'm not allergic to anything. I have no allergies. Aside from my various brain problems, I am in great health. I'm a little out of shape, but for my age and what I do and sitting all day, I'm actually in pretty good shape. Mm-hmm. I've never been stung by a bee. I am convinced that I am allergic to bees, and when I die, a bee will be involved somehow.
Okay.
It will be like I crashed my car because there was a bee in the car, or I was running away from a bee and I fell off a cliff. A bee will be involved in my death 100%.
Well, one day we're gonna read that Jeff has died in some.
Are you gonna set it like a Google News alert?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that kind of opens up because now it's a little bit more fun. Like,
okay, I don't know if this is answering the question, but the assumption that an out-of-state license plate person doesn't know where they're going.
That's a good one. I get that a lot because we get a lot of Illinois people. Like, especially when I lived in Milwaukee, we get a lot of Illinois people. And I've never understood it, but Wisconsin people hate Illinois drivers to the point where they came up with an acronym FIB. Fucking Illinois bastard.
Yay.
They navigate Chicago every fucking day. There's no way I would do that. Like, I'll do that once a week. I would not do that every day. And I will get lost. I'll get lost on the loop. I promise you I'll get lost on the loop.
Over here in Boston, we got Masshole.
Yeah, see? Yeah. And it's like, and it's not even that. It's like, oh, you know, all those Illinois people, they all fucking, they buy up all the vacation land in the North Woods of Wisconsin, and they all come up here every August, and that's why everything's so much more expensive in August and shit like that. That's not something I personally believe. I have a lot of friends from Illinois, although I do see them up north every August when I go on vacation.
Well,
yeah, I don't know. I think, like, even though that stereotype isn't necessarily true, I think just like second nature, I still am like more patient with people when I see a different license plate.
Oh, you're more patient. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm less patient.
See,
I was gonna say I would think people would go less patient.
Like,
especially
Kansas license plate or something, and they're driving stupid. I'm like, oh, is that how you fucks drive in Kansas? Like, I'm not proud of this, but I generalize like the whole state. I'm like, wow, that's how people drive in Wyoming? Okay.
Which, I mean, to be fair, like, people drive differently, people places. I've especially noticed that, like, when I consider Milwaukee normal driving people. Here in Green Bay, people, it's like lines don't fucking exist in a parking lot. There are no lanes. People would just fucking go wherever they want, ignoring all painted anything. If you did that in Milwaukee, you would get hit within 5 minutes of entering a parking lot. I promise you. And I can't stand it because it makes me, like, I still drive like, oh, there's a yellow line there. I better not cross it.
Right.
So it becomes Frogger. Between me and the parking space, there's fucking every car.
Yeah.
And I have to carefully find my way.
See, I think I'm, like, more patient with people out of state. Like, if I see that plate second nature. I know, I'm going to read that in a second. I think I'm like that because I know that's me. If I'm somewhere I don't know, I'm always, like, so freaked out when driving. Like, oh my God, I'm going to miss it. The turn, or where am I going? Like, so.
And on a road, that's fine. In the Target parking lot, there's no difference between the Target parking lot one place and another.
Yeah, no, I'm not agreeing with what they're doing. But yeah, I just know, like, driving somewhere, like if they're going a little slower or maybe they had their signal on way too early or whatever, I'm like, okay, whatever, you know, because that would be me. So I think I'm just taking it that way. And then you mentioned like people driving differently in different places. Kate didn't know this, but in New York, you can't do U-turns. So
like anywhere, or
it's illegal.
Like intersections, or
it's illegal. You can't do them.
You can't even do like a K turn or a Y turn, 3-point turn, whatever you call it.
3-point you can. You
okay,
but
you just can't flip a bitch. Okay.
Yeah. So going off the same license plate argument, when I see New York license plates do that, I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? We can't do that.
Yeah.
But if I saw somebody else, I'm like, right.
I have a version of that here where it's like there's a very like a main street, it's a main road, and you're going to an intersection, and one lane is very clearly turn only. Someone's in that, and then at the last second they like stop and try and get out of it.
Yeah.
And they have like a in-state license plate. I'm like, you're not fucking from here. What are you doing? You're supposed to look like a block and a half ahead.
Just like, yeah, even look at the sign.
If you lived here, you would know what's there.
I have a fucking perfect example, Jeff. Thank you for bringing this up. So there's this intersection not too far from where I live. There's like a gas station. It's like just a local one. For years, as long as I've lived, there's been a sign on this street. No left-hand turn into this lot. And almost every time I pass that sign, there's some dumb fucking idiot that's trying to go left.
We hit a button for Enigma.
Yeah. And it's like, no, you're backing up the road so much.
I mean, you live in a place where people don't need to drive, though, too. So it's got to be even more annoying.
Well,
like, if you're going to be this stupid, you could just...
See, that's more the city. This is upstate.
Oh, you're on like the outskirts?
Yeah, no, we're not. No, we're not in the NYC, Long Island area. No, we're upstate, so we're more spread out.
You definitely need to drive where you live.
Yeah.
Okay.
Unless you're planning an adventure every day and only have one destination. Okay, so going to Shonen's thing, you guys read it.
Yeah, we need to address that.
Positive stereotype. When I see an overweight person trying to run, it's not January. Hell yeah, Shonen. Every time I see anybody running on the street exercising, I'm like, good for you. Even if it's the old lady doing a little power walk in the sweats, that's them, you know? I'm just like, you know what? Good for you.
Yep.
See, that's the thing. I live in Wisconsin, so the only time people run is if they're late for something or they're working out. But there are no fat people who are, you know, I mean, like, first off, it's Wisconsin, so everyone's bloated with cheese and milk. You know? The Wisconsin Playboy model would be like pale skin where like you can see the veins, blonde hair, and like icy blue eyes, like this very Nordic Viking woman. I feel like is like that's the Wisconsin. All of like the girls I've ever seen, and even my wife, although she doesn't have blonde hair, like a little heavier, pale skin, icy blue eyes. And I feel like they're the ones who win the beauty pageants out here too. But yeah, there are, I mean, for the most part, 99% of the people I see running, no matter what, they're a little overweight here. So,
Well, yeah.
It's just, we live on brats and cheese and dairy.
What are you going to do?
Yeah, there's not, I mean, we've just accepted, you know? They don't have, like, size 0 is like, size 0 here starts, it's like a normal 4 or 5 or I don't fucking know ladies' sizes. It makes no sense. That's witchcraft is what that is.
Yeah, that's a whole other rant.
And why don't they make special clothes hangers for girls' shirts that have the really wide fucking neck holes? That doesn't fit a normal clothes hanger. It just falls right the fuck off.
Yeah.
I do all the laundry in my house, and it's very annoying.
I agree. Those are dumb. Women's pant sizes especially, they don't mean shit. I have like 4 different sizes of pants. And I only have one body. But anyways, that's a whole other thing. But yes, I agree with that positive stereotype. Anytime I see anybody running, working out, whatever it is, I guess good for you.
It depends on what you're doing. Like, running, if I see someone running, like, if you look like you're running, it's like, okay, you're making an effort. You have, like, that outfit. If you're running in, like, jeans and a leather jacket, I'm going to assume like you're late and you're going to be very sweaty.
Yeah.
In 5 minutes and uncomfortable the rest of the day.
Yeah.
If you're in the gym and you're making like crazy workout sex noises, you're there to show off. You know?
Yeah.
But if you're like in your backyard and you're just like struggling to do your 8th push-up, good for you. You know?
Yep.
I can't well, to be fair, every time I try and work out, I have at least one child on top of me. So I don't get very far.
Resistance.
I also I struggle with just between my job and dealing with the kids, like any free time, it's like I don't want to move. I want to fill myself with tasty things and anesthetize myself with video games. And then, you know, any energy I have left after that goes towards rubbing my wife's feet. So
free farm weights. Jeff's a gym rat.
I don't. I hate being around other people trying to like better myself. If I'm going to try and better myself physically, I want to be in my basement by myself. And like, that's it. Sarah had a gym membership once. And I was like, you know, this is just going to turn into you trying to quit for trying to get out of it for 3 weeks. And that's what happened.
See, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't like,
you can't
I have
leave
that
those.
thing where I don't like learning in front of other people. Like, I don't like messing up in front of other people. I'm very, very
You don't want to be
self-conscious.
bad at something.
Yeah.
You want to get to the point where you're just good.
I'm just very self-conscious in general, like all the time. So when I work out, it's at home in my room because I don't want other people to see me.
I have the opposite of that. I have one, if I'm exercising, because I used to, like when Sarah and I met, I ran 5 miles, 5 to 7 miles every other day. And on the days in between, I lifted weights every day. And that was when I was in the academy. You know, if I have to do the physical, I can pass it.
Right.
So at one point I could bench press my own weight.
Nice.
Those days are long gone. I can bench press 2 of my kids.
There you go.
There you go.
Which is all of them. I had the opposite though. Like if I go somewhere, like here's the weird thing. Gym people are very friendly and supportive of other gym people. But I've found it's kind of like alcoholics where like once you stop, they're just like, why? What's wrong? What's wrong with you? Why would you ever stop? Why would you not do this?
Yeah, I can agree with that.
And that might just be like my experience with it, but like that's what when you're in it, they are the most supportive people ever. Which, I mean, to their credit, that's awesome. You know, you're helping people better themselves. But when you're out of it, it's like, what's wrong with you? Why would you ever stop doing this? And that kind of thing, like working out, can be an addiction. Like especially once you get in the habit. Because I've heard it takes 60 days to build a habit. You have to do something every day for 60 days to ingrain it as a habit.
Damn, they bumped it up. I thought it was 21.
Oh God, no. But like, you know, once you get people who are in that and they're just deep in it, it becomes their thing, you know?
Yeah, I think I'm opposite of you guys. You guys mentioned doing it more solo. I think I need a group because then I have either people telling me what to do or people relying me for what I'm doing, you know, kind of thing. Like, if I'm on my own... You
need the social pressure?
In a way, yeah. That sounds bad, but yeah. I don't know. I just, like, when I'm on my own, like, I can do it if I'm doing it, obviously, but it's getting to that point of doing it. It's just like, you know, I'm good. So there's that. And then I kind of agree what you were saying with Jeff. Like, I don't know. Maybe it's just, like you said, maybe it's just experience. Like, the places I've gone, obviously I've done Taekwondo for numerous years. I feel like
Taekwondo is a different thing. That's not just going
sure.
to the gym and lifting weights. That's like dedication and perseverance and sort of like, which I guess you can get into this with working out too, but like you're getting yourself into like doing those actions is a form of meditation, I think.
Yeah, it's mental and physical training. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So I feel just at the school, like you said, maybe because it's that different aspect of fitness, mental, physical, spiritual, whatever it is. I feel we're very supportive, and that's what I absolutely love about our adult groups. Like, everybody's friendly to each other. Somebody new is trying out for the first time, like, they go up, they introduce themselves, like, you did a good job with this, high fives. It's like fucking awesome, and I love that. So like, everybody's very welcoming in that. And then I think it was 2 years ago, 1 year ago, I don't know, but I tried this gym type thing. It's called Metabolic Meltdown. So it's a high interval intensity training.
HIIT training. Okay.
Yes, exactly. So I had a Taekwondo parent and student it was literally on the other side of the building, and they were doing it, and she fell in love with it, and she's like, oh, well, you can come in for a week and try it out. And this was when I was taking a break from Taekwondo, and I was like, yeah, sure. I've wanted to at least poke my head inside and see what it was about. And it was like so tiring just because it was like different, obviously, from what we were doing on that side. But I felt like I was gonna die after the first one. But I got home, I sat down for like 30 minutes and was like, I just want to go again. Like, I was ready. So like, even at that gym, like, the classes were a little bit smaller, maybe 15 at least max when I was going during my week. But like, everybody was still supportive there. Not necessarily like me, the classmates, but like the coaches running it. Like, you have the one coach that's kind of walking around and helping people out and guiding you through the exercises. Like, all the coaches at the place were always so supportive and like willing to talk to you afterwards of like, hey, do this with your form or fix this kind of thing. So that's something I've been trying to work back into my budget, is going back to there. Unfortunately, it hasn't happened in a while, but like, obviously I like
Cell plasma.
There you go.
Obviously, I loved it just because, it was a good workout, but something different too. And it was that set schedule time of like, I'm going to go at 9:30 in the morning on this day, and having that schedule and other people around me, I think that helps me more.
I can get that. And that's probably that's probably the biggest reason I don't work out anymore so much. Like, I've tried to, over the summer, I tried to do like the One Punch Man thing a bit. Like, I know I'm not going to be able to do the running, but like, I can do most of the other stuff. But with two kids with completely different schedules, like Willow's in school, Jack isn't.
Right.
You're not making any fucking kind of schedule plan, like, where this is what you do on this day. It's not happening. So I've just accepted being, this is my time to be lazy. This is my time to be fat, and hope that by the time that they're both in school and I can like schedule like a workout routine, I'm not so out of shape that when I get back into shape, I have extra skin folds.
Yeah.
I don't want to be fat bastard at the end of Austin Powers 3.
There you go.
No.
So was there any other questions, Jeff, that you had?
I did have one more, and this one kind of, we'll go through it real quick.
Yeah.
Because this is going to be a quick answer thing. And the last thing actually kind of ties into is, we're getting into the darker months. I noticed today I ran out at like 6:10 to go get something from the grocery store and get back before the podcast started. And it was getting dark. In addition to all the other, probable but officially undiagnosed shit that I have, and then the actual diagnosed shit, major depressive disorder, ADHD, all that shit, I suffer from seasonal affective disorder.
Okay.
Which, it's so funny that they fucking named it SAD.
I know, isn't it?
It's so funny, but it's seasonal depression. And I have to be, now that it's so much better now that I have kids. I don't know why. I don't know if it's like some like brain chemical interaction with them that keeps shit more even. But it used to be really, really bad. To the point where I was hospitalized at one point. But I'm aware of this. I'm keeping it in mind. I'm looking at what can I change? What can I do going into this season to make sure I'm ready for it? Because it's going to hit me at some point. And I work a retail job, customer service oriented. That's going to suck too. I have to have self-care stuff in mind. Do you guys have any self-care like go-tos? Like, what are your like, this is my happy thing? because I have a couple and I've talked about them before. I've mentioned like when I'm sick or when I'm down, I watch Mystery Science Theater 3000. You know, I lay down on the couch, I turn on Mystery Science Theater 3000. If I'm with Willow, we'll watch Steven Universe. And if I'm playing a video game and I want to feel good, I will play Kirby's Epic Dream Land. Or not Kirby's Epic Dream Land, Kirby's Epic Yarn. Yes. Because it's just so fucking happy. And it's sunshine and cotton candy and unicorns. And you can't come out of that not feeling good. Do you guys have that kind of thing? Do you have something that like this is my thing, that is my, like, this is my pick-me-up no matter what, no matter what is going on?
For sure. I want to just say I love this question, by the way.
I mean, I had a stream early on where I talked about it because it was, I have suffered with this for a long time. And at one point I don't talk about it a lot. I've talked about it with people who also suffer from it. I did try, we're going to get dark here. I did try to kill myself once. It was in college. I was in a really bad space. I was super isolated from like what I considered my support network, even though like I was around them all the time because they had their own shit going on. Yeah. And I felt like I was getting left behind. And it wasn't a super serious attempt, but it was enough that I ended up waking up in the psych ward the next day.
Okay.
So it's something that I feel it's important to talk about because it's not something like you're finding out more and more that people deal with all this shit that you just don't know about.
Right.
Like, and more often, like, we're our own worst enemies. And I've said that before, like, my buffer with everything I do for YouTube and Twitch is like no matter like any kind of bad comments or anything I get, no one will be as critical or hateful of me as myself. And I've turned that around and been like, that's my strength. Like if I can get past that, I can, who cares, you know?
Right.
So I think it's important to talk about because you have to talk about it. Otherwise you're just going to stew in it.
Right.
I did not mean to bring all that part up. It was just going to be the question.
You're good. I 100% agree with everything that needs to be talked about. And I think, like, just when we go through our examples, like, if somebody's watching this and unfortunately they're going through something like that, maybe they can pick up on some things like, oh, yeah, maybe I should try that or whatever. Because, yeah, I mean, we all have experience with it, whether it's ourselves or someone else, and it fucking sucks.
Yeah, depression, bullying, all those kind of things.
Yeah, so I mean, I know a couple people who unfortunately they've at certain points been on the lower end of things, and I mean, at least from personally, I've never had those thoughts, or like there's times I've been down about things and about myself, but I've never felt like I've had, I don't know how to word it correctly, but maybe this issue or problem, I guess. So like seeing other people struggle with that, like it hurts because I want to help, but I don't know how to help. And it's like constantly back and forth. Like, how do I help? But I don't want to be too much and like, and like say the wrong things or whatever. So yeah, it's just a matter of, like you said, self-care can sometimes be the best because unfortunately, maybe you're your biggest adversary in that department.
Oftentimes we are, and society has trained people to be like, oh, you're sick, oh, you're not feeling well, but you got to work. You got to go to work. Like you have to make your money. You can't put your shift off on somebody else. You know, they're counting on you to the point where like I kind of feel like places under schedule sometimes, and it like that exacerbates it. But it's part of like definitely the way that our society, as far as work goes, is structured. Where like, you know, this is what you have to do. You have to do it, and like if you're not there, like everyone else suffers. You know, to the point where like, oh, somebody called in a day is an excuse. You know, like if you're just running behind, people will often say it like to somebody for like, I'm sorry, we're not getting to you quickly enough, even if nobody called in. You know.
Yeah.
I don't know, Kate. Do you want to go first with self-care stuff, or should I go first?
Yeah, I can go first.
Okay.
And I'm so since we're going there with this topic, this was kind of a topic that I had thought about, not this exact topic, but something like it I had thought about bringing up, but I wasn't sure.
I wasn't gonna. I promise I wasn't gonna go this deep.
Well, which I'm glad you did, because now I can talk about it too. And so I have some of those same issues. I've had diagnosed depression since I was like 12, and I've been taking medication for it for years. And
good for you on that one, because I have a real problem like getting on and taking medication. Like I feel a very deeply ingrained part of me feels like that's not giving up, but like admitting some kind of weakness. To the point where I'm not on antidepressants now. Which is why I'm so careful about doing everything else.
Right.
Also, I can't afford them.
Well, that's a whole separate.
Yeah. That's something we're not getting into. That's something we can't solve here.
No.
Right.
That's something for the politicians.
Yeah. So I do take medication for it, and if I don't take medication for it, it can be very, very serious, to similar points that you have said. And even on medication, there are ups and downs, and there are points when it's really, really bad. And so that's something that I have struggled with too, just finding getting to the point where I like myself enough to where I want to do self-care things.
Yeah.
Because that's been a major struggle. And I am like just very recently kind of getting there with that, to where I can even do those things. So I don't know. And it's not even I guess it's partly self-care and partly care from others. But one of the biggest things for me is realizing when I'm feeling very, very depressed, acknowledging that and acknowledging it out loud to somebody else who I trust. And kind of getting to that point in a relationship where I feel comfortable doing that. Yes, you have. You look like
that's sorry. That's a very good point, because as I mentioned, for the most part, I don't. And a big part of it, admittedly, is from a creator standpoint. Like, I'm worried, very deeply worried, and I shouldn't be probably, because this isn't a problem with me as a person. It's a problem with my brain chemicals. I'm worried if I get on, like, anti-anxiety, anti-depression, stuff like that. Like, I won't be able to do the same things that I do in the same way for YouTube and Twitch. Somehow it'll be fundamentally different. And this is not how you do this, people. If you need medication, get on it, please. It's worked out for me so far. I'm fully aware it's not going to work out forever. And I'm fine with that. Like, my mantra is, my kids love me, my grandma loves me, and if I can get to bed at the end of the day and go to sleep, I'll wake up feeling better. And I always do. It's the later in the day where everything starts to set in. But, like, reaching out to people and having people there, the flip side of that, like, I have this, I deal with it on my own. Sarah is not like that. It's been such a journey for her to, like, because she's the kind of person, if someone's upset, they're sick, they're whatever, she wants to make them better. She wants to make them feel better. What can I get for you? What can I do for you? It's taken such a long time for her to just learn, like, how I work, to be like, if I'm upset, like, I just need to get there on my own, and then I will come to her. And I'm so thankful for her. Like, when I got sick this last time, she wasn't like, can I get you anything? Can I get you soup? Can I get you water? Whatever. She was like, go downstairs, turn on the TV. I'll check on you in 6 hours. And it speaks to, one, how it can be difficult for people around you to deal with because I get the same way when I get depressed. She's like, and she still struggles with that a little bit. She's like, last year I got really sad because I was going to go visit my sister for her wedding. And at the last minute, we realized it wasn't going to work. There wasn't enough money. And like when I got married, my big sister, she was living in India at the time. She was supposed to be my best man. And she was like, there's no way I'm going to make it. And then like 2 weeks beforehand, she was like, I'm going to make it. I pulled it off. I'm going to be there. And then when I was like, I can't be there for hers, I felt like a shitty brother. And I was a wreck. And it was, I didn't want to talk to anybody. I was kind of moody and I was shit. And Sarah was like, why, like, stop, talk to me. Let me help you. And it was like, I don't need you to help me. I need you to let me get to where I'm okay with asking something of you. And she's gotten so much better at that. I love her so much for it. But it's weird because like you're going through this with depression and everything. The people closest to you are also going through it in a way that you can't see what they're going through because you're dealing with your depression, and they have a difficult time caring for you because you only have this idea of what you can do to help, and everyone's different, and you're stuck in this little dark hole, and you can't just like. Sometimes you don't need a blanket. You don't need a hug. Yeah. And it just goes to show that depression doesn't just affect you.
No, definitely not.
And definitely not. Like getting to the point where like when and how to ask for help is a huge step.
Yeah, and I think building that kind of relationship with somebody and being that vulnerable and honest and being able to trust somebody like that and having somebody who will be there for you and trust you back it's hard work, and it's more hard work than people give it credit for. And both people in that situation, both people in that situation deserve huge credit. And I'm sure Brett can kind of talk about this too from the other end of it, because we've worked really, really hard at that dynamic and knowing how to deal with that when I'm at a really, really low point. And so I have two other things that I want to say about that, but that's the first one, is just really putting the effort and heart and honesty into building that kind of relationship has been really important. And another one for me, which unfortunately is not accessible to everybody, has been going to therapy. My therapist is on maternity leave right now, but I had been going every single week, and that has helped so much. And just knowing that I'm going and doing that for myself and doing that hard work to make my own life better and kind of investing in myself in that way is a really good feeling. And then obviously once you find the right therapist, there's so much more that you can get out of therapy, but just kind of, it doesn't even have to be therapy, just that knowledge of doing something for yourself. You're like stepping up for yourself in some way has been really helpful for me, because there are lots of times where I just give up on myself, and there still are lots of times where it's just like way easier to just give up and not do, like, I don't like myself, I don't want to put in this effort for myself at all. And so taking that step, and I think for me, having that accountability of going to therapy where I'm meeting with somebody else and like I have this appointment and I have to go to it, that has been really helpful, because then I can't just blow it off. Or it's a lot harder to just blow it off. So that's been helpful for me to have that kind of accountability.
That's an excellent point, because I feel like there's almost like a stigma against therapy. And I fully recommend it for the people who can do it. fairly certain, even if I didn't have depression, just who I am as a person, I couldn't do it just because I don't like opening up. I don't like talking. I don't want to, like, if I don't know what's going on, I don't want you to try and figure it out. I want to try and figure it out on my own. Probably not the best mindset. But it's one of those things. I fully plan on checking out at some point. And I feel bad for whoever I meet with. Because I'm gonna be so fucking like obstinate and terrible. Like the biggest defense I have against my depression is the best way I can put it is, at heart I'm like a 75-year-old man who, if like anybody tries to tell me to do or feel some way, including myself, I'm like, no, fuck you, I'm gonna do it how I want. So like that's my reaction to my depression is like, I'm sad. Fuck you. I'm gonna go to sleep and I'm gonna wake up better. Like that's what keeps what keeps me going in my job. That's what keeps me, like, when I look at a video that I'm editing and I'm like, everything I'm saying, I'm like, fuck you and fuck him. Just edit it. That's what you're here to do, you know? And I'm sure I'm gonna say those exact words to whoever I meet with. Like, this is my brain. Is it your brain? No. Fuck off.
Yeah.
How much am I paying for this? Yeah,
how much
exactly.
am I paying for this?
How much am I paying you to have me swear at you right the fuck now?
Yeah. Sometimes that can be helpful though.
Yeah. Well, like I said, that's what, you know, it's fucked up. It's probably not healthy, but like telling myself to fuck off is what keeps me going sometimes. Like I'm so obstinate that like this isn't gonna be what does it. It's gonna have to be like fucking Batman throwing the moon at me to get me to fucking give up, you know? Yeah. Batman throwing the moon at me with Terminator on the moon shooting at me.
There you go. That would actually kind of make a cool movie.
Because fuck the other, not even because I think I can do it, fuck the other option.
Okay, so I know I said I had 3 more things, but now I have 2 more things.
Enigma, aren't you, or Kate, actually, now that we've gotten through Enigma's video game shit and my deep shit, like, you better bring this home when we get to your stuff.
Well, yeah, mine is going to be a shifting gears from what we're talking about right now.
Yeah, we're gonna downshift.
Mine is a little bit lighter. So once this is good though. This is an important conversation that we're having.
It is, and like I said, like this is one of the things. Like last year around this time, I just randomly I was like, I need to fucking talk about this, and I think I picked. Oh, what's that game where you're like a ballerina, but everything's all fucked up?
Very vague.
It's a platformer. It's on PS Plus.
Alice Management
Oh, you're not a ballerina. You're like a dancer, but you're also exploring this woman's memories. I chose that, and I was playing it, and I was just talking about this shit. And it's the first time I'd ever done anything like that, and I felt so much better afterwards. And it is important to talk about this kind of stuff.
Yeah, and it makes me feel better to talk about it too, and I think it's getting
Bound.
better.
It's called Bound.
I've never even heard of that.
Bound. I think I'm gonna double check it.
Okay, but I think in some places, in some ways, the stigma is getting it's lifting a little bit. But I think just there are so many people who have depression or anxiety or other mental health disorders that you would never know about. And lots of people go to therapy, and so many people go through it, and it doesn't need to be this huge stigma.
It shouldn't be.
And I think the more that we talk about it, the less it will be. So I think it's a good thing that we're talking about it.
I really feel like with that kind of stuff, we're stuck in this 50s mentality almost. Especially for guys. Like I know
I think
I don't know the breakdown. I think women deal with depression and anxiety more than men just because of various, societal issues and economical issues. And like how women are kind of viewed in our culture and like what you're expected to do and your society's preconceived notion bullshit. But I know like they're starting to realize like it's way more even than people used to think. But there's still this whole thing like, and especially like this was a big thing when I was in the academy. Like, you know, it's if you're a cop and like you go to any kind of counseling, like it's super judged. And it's something like we need to get the fuck over, you know?
Yeah, I agree.
Like, nobody's brain is okay. How can your look at the world around us? How can your brain be okay?
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's really
everything is fucked.
Yeah, I think it's really unfortunate that so many men have mental health issues and don't feel like they can get help because it's so stigmatized, and I think more stigmatized than it is for women. And just being
which, to be fair,
to like, oh, it's not manly to cry, or like you just need to have some balls and get over your feelings. Like that doesn't help anything.
No, it doesn't. But to be fair, like women got the shitty end of that stick for so much fucking longer. You know, like, oh, you're something? Well, you have a wandering uterus.
Right. Yeah.
Like it's like there's more stigma now, but like you guys have had it so much worse, so much longer. I feel so bad, you know?
Okay, so I'm going to say my 2 other self-care things.
Okay. I thought there was one other.
Well, no, that's what I said. And then I thought of another one.
Okay, go for it. Go for it.
One of them is
feed me.
Is taking care of myself and taking care of my space. So one of the things that happens when I get depressed is my room, my apartment gets a fucking mess. It's like a disaster. And literally just cleaning a little bit helps so much.
Your living space is an extension of yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. So taking care of that, even if it's just a little bit, helps. Taking care of myself, like if I feel really, really shitty and I take a shower and I feel clean, that helps. That feels like I'm taking care of myself. Like if I just go brush my teeth, that can even help. It's like the littlest thing to where you're making an effort to take care of yourself. That feels like it kind of clears my head space a little bit. And then I also just found this app recently. It's called #selfcare is the name of the app, which is a little questionable, but it's just a simple app. It's like it shows you the picture of this person in a bed in their room, and you can interact with different things in the room. And it's just like little bits of self-care. So like there's word puzzles, there's like a deep breathing, like a flower opens and closes, I breathe with it. And I realize it's not for everybody, but it really helps. Like if I'm at work and I can't deal with what's going on at that moment, I need something to look at and interact with. Otherwise, I can't get out of the headspace that I'm in. And so that helps to like stop it enough to where I don't spiral and I can like get through the rest of a work day or something.
You plug that drain, yeah.
Right, because it has to be something like I can't just get there in my own brain. It has to be something external that I'm looking at and interacting with. So for me, that's been helpful. But I think anything like external of your own brain is more helpful than trying to get there just in your own head.
I have something very similar to that, but on the bad person end of the spectrum. I work, you guys know this, I work in a customer service position in a retail job. I deal with all the angry people. If I'm having a bad day, I will go to the break room, and what I will do is I will look up horror stories from restaurant and food service employees, because they are the only people who have it worse than I do. There's a very specific blog I read. It's unfortunately they don't publish anymore. It used to be called Behind Closed Ovens, and then it was off the menu, and it's all like stories about like the worst restaurant customers and like how they get their comeuppance and just the crazy shit they've had to deal with. And like I worked at Jimmy John's. I've worked in the food industry. No one has it worse than those guys. And I like that's my thing that I'll do at work. If I'm having a really bad day, I'll go and I'll read a couple of posts from that. And it's like from there, in their defense, like it's posted like, you know, I'm out of this. I'm working my dream job now. But when I was younger and I had to do this, this is what I had to deal with. And there's so many good stories about like, you know, terrible people, like, you know, somebody who's like angry that their pizza's not there and they're like, and done in 15 minutes and they're shouting racial slurs at the register. And then they get their pizza and they storm out and they put it on the roof of their car and they turn back and they shout some more shit back into the register or restaurant. And then they get in their car and they slam the door and they back up really quick, forgetting the pizza, and it falls on the ground. You know? So, like I said, it's the bad person version of that, because I'm delighting in other people's misfortune.
Yeah. I can see that though. I can see it.
And also, shout out to waiters and waitresses. Like, you guys, I feel it's something I could never do. No. People with their food are the worst.
I think that's true.
Oh yeah, so, no, I will never go back into the food industry ever. I won't even work at a grocery store anymore. I have it bad enough with people like, well, my freezer doesn't get cold enough. Is everything frozen? Yeah, but it's not like, it doesn't hurt when I touch it. But it's not going bad. It doesn't hurt when I touch it. Oh boy. It's not, the food isn't going bad, so it's functioning. Yeah, but it's not doing it enough. Nope. You know, but you know, it's stop. Like that with a screaming 3-year-old in a restaurant, and also you need to be nice because you rely on their tips.
Right.
If I had to deal with tips in my job, nope.
Oh yeah, no. So I'm interested to hear from Enigma a little bit.
Yes, finally. We've taken over. Let's give the control back.
You're good. Where should I start?
I feel like he's just absorbed a lot of truth.
That's good.
He had. I'm sorry for you guys if you ever have kids, because the truth bombs that just got dropped on him, like the radiation and the fallout. Your kids will be born weird with truth. They will have weird truth malformations.
Yeah.
So yeah, where should I start? What do you want to? Just go into my self-care things, or is there something like that you guys talked about that I should?
I think.
I mean, we've covered everything.
And seeing somebody who is depressed, like, how is that experience for you?
Yeah, do you have
person?
Do you suffer from like depression or?
As far as
you're a creator, so I have to assume you suffer from some form of stress related to that.
Oh
like
yeah.
Obviously you don't have a huge, not presence, but you don't focus so much on YouTube.
No, I've lightened that load up. Just because...
So you don't have that, cuts out about half of the work required. You don't have editing, as much editing and things like that. You don't have to. Which, by the way, the thing I hate most about what I do is it's not the thumbnails, it's not the editing. It's coming up with the little fucking blurbs for the tweet of every episode and video that I do.
I agree. That's always the worst part when I post these, because I'm always doing like description of what we did. Then I gotta remember
how do you wrap a video up into a single sentence?
The SoundCloud, you know, like all those freaking things.
Mm-hmm.
So no, I used to do more YouTube stuff, and I want to do more YouTube stuff because I love editing. It's just like I don't like doing filming on my own. Like I feel like I'm dead. Not dead, but like no personality. If I'm just in a room here talking to myself, like stream's a little different because you get to take it going back and forth, but I don't know. But yeah.
We've talked about that. I think I mentioned before, like when I'm doing it on my own, I imagine, like I look at the camera, but I'm seeing somebody else.
Yeah, maybe I need to try that. But yeah, I need to get back into editing. That was more just time and scheduling as well.
But I mean, as a creator, like all the creators I know, they hold themselves to a certain standard that does create some stress.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you don't suffer from, diagnosed depression or anxiety or stuff like that, like you have to deal with it. So like, I don't want to be like compare us to you, but like,
yeah.
I couldn't figure out a way to finish that except for saying compare us to you.
I totally understand what you're going for. So as far as I have experienced, no, I don't.
I want my food to hurt me when I touch it.
I don't have.
And the thing is, I know people who work in the food industry who have had people say that.
As far as I know and have experienced, I don't think I have anything of those, like anxiety, depression, whatever. Like I mentioned before, early in this topic, like, yeah, there's definitely times where I'm down, or there's more recently there's been spans of like I'm not motivated to do something or whatever, and it's like I would assume a burst of what, or a fraction of what people feel, you know, with low motivation or just being down on yourself. And going into the content side of things, absolutely, like I'm doing better with it now, but you can ask Kate. There was a time where I was just very numbers focused, or very comparing myself to other people.
Oh yeah, that's a bad way to. That's why I specifically state, like, I don't worry about followers or subs or things like that. Right. You know, that's because if I go down that way, that's bad things lie that way.
Right. And I think, like, it still pops up from time to time. I think the thing I just need to...
Sorry.
You're good. Thing I just need to improve on is, like, if I can be myself more in what I'm doing, like, obviously people like me outside of streaming. People like me at Taekwondo. People like me here. People like me there. Like, obviously I'm doing something right to these audiences. If I can take those aspects and those characteristics and put it into this, like, yeah, it might not blow up to this giant thing of, you know, hypothetical ninja level or whoever, but like,
oh yeah,
if I could get that audience or a little chunk, then I'd be fine with that. So yeah,
that's.
Go ahead.
Sorry, you finish.
Okay.
I was gonna say that's something you just reminded me of something that I've been trying to work in regards to that, because like I lived in Milwaukee for so long. I moved here. I've lived here for 3 years. I have people I work with that I like. And when I say friend, I want to preface this. When I say friend, it's a very specific, like, definition. It's someone who you see outside of work and you don't talk about work with. I wouldn't say I have any friends here. I go to work, I come home. The only other place I go is the game store or the grocery store. Okay. Like, that's something I need to, like, having things outside of what you do, because it's so easy in this, and I'm the perfect example of this, to throw yourself completely into it, and then that becomes your all-consuming thing with content creation and things like that. It's such a dangerous rabbit hole to fall into. And it's good that you have that. It's something I try to work on, but I don't like most people. So consider both of you lucky. that came off more dickish than I meant it to. I'm trying to thank you. So, yeah. You guys are my going out on Saturday night.
Nice.
Which isn't to say, like, I have friends that I keep in touch with, and I have friends back in Milwaukee. Even if I'm not talking to them, Sarah's talking to them, you know. But like, I don't have a circle here, social circle.
Gotcha.
Which I'm fine with personally. Like, I have people that I talk to, but I think you do need some kind of validation outside of what you do. Yeah. Sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that was a big thing I struggled with in California. Like, I didn't know many people out there. Like, I knew my cousin, my roommate, and then I knew 2 high school friends who happened to move to LA at the same time I moved out there to Anaheim. So, like, there was those connections, but, like, obviously my cousin's got his now fiance, soon-to-be wife, living with us. Like,
congratulations, maybe, depending on how this story ends.
Like, he's not going to hang out with me as often as, like, when we were kids or whatever. And then my friends in LA, yeah, I want to hang out with them, but, like, that's an hour drive, you know, LA traffic.
Yeah. That's my thing. It's like my 3 best friends in my life, one lives in Virginia Beach, one lives in Milwaukee, and one lives in Texas. So there's no physical interaction there, you know? Yeah.
So
I guess I should probably count my wife as one of my best friends.
Probably.
Sorry, Sarah. How's Spider-Man going?
So that was something I struggled with, and I went.
Did you guys hear that?
No.
Oh, she's like, good.
Nice. So that was something
you.
Struggled with in California, and I made a lot of videos and like went pretty hard on the streams. And I mean, I had that support system there with the people who were viewing, but yeah, after a while I burnt out. I was just like, I want to hang out with people who I know and who I love and stuff like that. Not that I didn't, you know, enjoy the people I was hanging out with the stream, but it's different. It wasn't that in-person contact. So, and going back to here, yeah, the comparison, I was doing a really bad job of like, I've been doing this for 4+ years. This person just recently started back up or started fresh, or like they blew up. Like what am I missing here? And like, so yeah, there's definitely stresses from the content creation side, and I'm trying to be better about that. Like I said, of just being like, bring the characteristics that I bring out into the real world and bring it to the digital world, of like, find people who connect with me on those levels, and those are the people I want to hang out with, and go from there type thing.
And that's such a common pitfall for this kind of thing. Like we have a mutual friend. I'm not going to name him. Mm-hmm. He helped me get into streaming. I think he's an amazing streamer.
Absolutely.
I would watch him all the time. And he got out of it, and I don't know for certain. Mm-hmm. I have a very strong suspicion that this is kind of what got him out of him, aside from other things, aside from real life things. But like, there's a thing where like, if you get too focused on that, if you're growing too fast and then you hit like a plateau or something like that, it can be such like a blow to you that it's hard to recover from it.
Right.
Because and I've felt it too. Like when I was streaming Hitman 2 when it came out, I had like 20 or 30 viewers every time. Most of the time I have like 2 or 3.
Yeah.
You have to be very careful about how much of like, you can't tie how you feel about yourself into the numbers that are on the screen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. That person, I mean, was an awesome streamer, and he was one of those people who, like, when I met him first at TwitchCon and then started like following him, like when I saw his streams and saw numbers he was getting, that was the other side of the coin, where I was like very proud, and I was like, damn, so and so's doing really well, and I'm happy for them.
And he doesn't even do it anymore, and I'm still like, teach me.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, like, you're just talk to me and my day will be better.
Yeah. And I mean, like you said, he stopped because whatever reasons, and that's why I'm always like, in the back of my head, I'm like, I hope so and so is doing okay. And like, I know I ask you all the time, like,
he's doing okay. He's doing good. He had a fun summer.
Good.
And I have been told he's thinking about getting back into it. Okay. Before he left, he was really getting into like experimenting with like speed running.
Oh, cool.
Cool.
I don't know how much further he's going to get into that, because like competitive speed running is its own thing, you know, like the amount of time that you have to put into that and what you get out of it. Mm-hmm. You're going to suck for a really long time before you get good, which is why I don't get into a lot of things, because I don't want to be bad at something for 3 or 4 years before I'm good at it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I'm looking forward to talking with him a bit more. He's supposed to be on the podcast again, hopefully soonish.
Oh, good.
Wrestling related, so don't get too excited. But yeah,
that's fine. I don't care what you can talk about. Fucking molds and funguses.
Sweet, let's do it. This one looks gross. This one smells gross.
I love that man. He's like, honestly, he's such a huge inspiration to me, and he helped me so much at the beginning. Just like, I would just post questions on Facebook, like, why isn't this shit working? And he'd have a response, and he'd help me figure it out, you know?
Yeah.
Without ever stepping foot and looking at like my computer or my settings.
So
he's my streaming like old shinobi master with the really long Fu Manchu.
There you go.
There you go.
So yeah, struggling with that. I totally agree with you. Like, you mentioned the Hitman, your numbers were high. That was me with Skate 3 for a while, because I was late to that party. 3. So Skate 3 numbers were high, and then back down. So like,
yeah,
that was a game
I get that with
I wasn't in love with, and I was like, I can't play this anymore.
See, and then like the flip side of that is like, I get that with Skies of Arcadia. I love Skies of Arcadia. Nobody fucking watches that.
Yeah. But
that's where I'm like, I'm doing this for me, because I'm fulfilling the promise I made to my little kid self, where I was like, I love Mystery Science Theater 3000. How cool would it be if someone did this with video games? You know, so I don't worry about it. And then it's always like, you know, this is going up on YouTube. Maybe you'll get more there. And it usually gets something over there, 2 or 3 and whatever, you know. But
so yeah, like I said, I'm being better with it, with the trying to just find that connection, like I said, with characteristics. But then also, like, I mean, this podcast example is a perfect example. Like this is another step of me improving myself. Like that was a big reason I wanted to do streaming, was like, okay, even back to Taekwondo, I never thought I would be standing in front of 20 to 30 students, regardless of their age, and teaching them anything. I thought public speaking was the worst thing ever. Do I think I could go and...
If I'm going to be in front of a group of kids, it's going to be about how you don't drink and drive.
I never thought, nor never think I'll still, like, stand in front of a giant group and deliver some speech or whatever, but, like, this was another aspect of, like, how do I improve myself? So, like, talking... obviously a lot, or in front of people, and then this podcast is another example of that. Like, how can I take this content and use it to make myself better? Let's get a show where you literally have the only option is to talk, and you need to talk about random things. Okay, let's do that. So that's one form of content. Whether people watch it, whether people listen to it, I don't give a shit. This is for me, base level, improving myself, you know. And then there's some things that I've worked on. Just, I enjoy working on stupid stream stuff, like the transition, that stupid little circle that goes in and out. I love that, and I want to learn more about that. And then we have our sub notifications. Like, I only have the tier 1 sub, but the little stupid green screen Power Ranger morph. Fucking love that. And I'm making 2 more, and they're frustrating as hell, but I know they're gonna look awesome once they're up here. Like,
I get that.
Constantly
that's all stuff I want to work more on, and I just haven't gotten to the point. Like, I'm like, okay, with everything else I'm doing, I can commit the energy to this. I don't like transitions. Like, you might as well be like, would you like me to inject you with a sickness right now? You know, I'll get there eventually, but right now it's like, no. Just button, please.
Well, sidebar, Jeff, about transitions. I have a little surprise for you. So I worked on something Wednesday night? I don't know, Wednesday night. I have a...
You said the same day 3 nights.
Did I say? I thought I said Thursday.
Wednesday night? Yeah,
it was confirming in my brain. There was a lot of... Yeah.
Okay.
I have a template for a transition for you. If you would like it. So. So. Yeah, that's been an idea for a while. So. Finally get that going.
Ow.
Yeah, careful. You keep hurting yourself on stream.
I know.
I'm fine. Luckily, my jaw muscle is strongest muscles. Can you tell from all the talking?
Yeah. And then back on topic. Yeah, just... I don't know.
Sorry.
Yeah, you're good.
I have a bad habit of burping while I cough.
Which
is funny because I can't burp on command.
I can't either. Nor do I want to. But just figuring out how to do it for myself. That's been how to deal with the stress there. So, going even farther back, because this is a long topic, but going good. I like it. You mentioned how Sarah had to learn how to adjust to when you
my own particular
down.
idiosyncrasies.
Correct. So going back to what Kate asked, how I personally have dealt with it, and I've talked to you about it before, Kate, but just to reiterate, like whenever she was feeling down, I always thought it was something I did wrong.
Oh
yeah. So
classic pitfall in a land war with China. Asia. Fuck, I fucked it up.
So over time, like, that was definitely a challenge for me and a hurdle for me. Is like, okay, getting over, like, it's not something I'm doing. How do I stop thinking selfishly, for lack of a better term, only about myself, and like, okay, something's wrong, it's not me. Help. In a way, or help however you can. So like, there's definitely some difficulties. I don't know if this sounds good. It probably doesn't. But in dealing with someone with that, I don't know. Sorry.
No, it is, because you have to teach yourself to approach a situation in a way that is not natural to you, and not even natural, I would say, to society, because it's like what's considered the good thing is when someone is having a problem, you go there and you help them. Mm-hmm. And that's not what people need all the time.
Right. I know that.
It's like, the very vaguest way I can put this is, if I saw a complete stranger, a woman, specifically a woman, complete stranger, like crying on the street, like just sitting on a bench or something crying. It's like, yes, I want to help her, but at the same time, like, it's totally possible that she just needs to get this out.
Yeah.
And deal with it on her own.
Right.
And she specifically does not want some fucking guy coming in and trying to be like, hey, are you okay? What can I do? Mm-hmm. You have to really learn. Everybody's different. Everyone is their own minefield.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that was definitely a difficulty for me. And I think lately I've been doing way better on
It's
that
not always
front.
the Smallville theme song. I hate that because I don't like Smallville, but I own every fucking season because Sarah loves it.
Oh, okay. I was like, what?
And I have not been able to convince her. It's called "Somebody Save Me."
Mm-hmm.
That's like the chorus or whatever. I don't know if it's the name of the song, but Sarah loves it. And there's 10 fucking seasons 5 feet from me. I can't stand it.
So yeah, I think I've been doing better on that front. And like I said, it's definitely a challenge. So if anybody is on the opposite side of that relationship, whether it's friend relationship, whatever it is, like, be patient with yourself in that aspect too. Like, I think if you can be patient past that hurdle and work past it, like, not that the problem's solved, but it's easier to deal with, if that makes sense. Like, when something comes up now, I know, okay, put everything down. What can I do? Is it something I can actually help with and you want me to help? Cool. Is it something you just need space and don't need me around? Cool. Like, you just dealing with your own thing. It's not something I did or something that went wrong or whatever. It's just, ouch, that situation. And like you said, it's figuring out everybody's different type thing. Like, I know for me personally, sometimes when I'm very upset, like Jeff, just, I need to be on my own.
Yeah.
Like, you need to be angry, or and you need to process it.
Right.
Yeah.
For sure.
I get it. Like, it's again, I feel like it's this thing where it's like there's this stigma against guys, but like, I don't need somebody to make it better for me. Mm-hmm. I just need to own these feelings for a little bit.
Yeah.
Until I can come out on the other side. And then, yes, I will welcome, exterior input.
It's not that we don't want the help. Like, for me personally, it's just like, I'm angry. Let me be angry. But I don't want you around, because then it goes the wrong way.
It's like, I'm not even angry at you right now. I'm just angry and I need to get through this.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Yep.
So.
Also, sorry.
You're good.
Comic book nerd kicking in. 3 seasons in, absolutely were grasping at straws, but it is where Amy Adams got one of her big starts, and then she went on to play Lois Lane. So,
true. So yeah.
Admittedly, she was in a fat suit, but.
So that would be my side of, like, I guess, dealing with it. Should I go into my self-care stuff?
Yeah.
I mean, it's your show. Like, we still have to get, like, we haven't gotten to any ladies' questions. So
loving it.
I think mine's gonna be a little bit shorter. So
okay, cool.
That's fine.
We're okay.
Yeah, I don't give a shit how long we're going. I've loved this podcast. I'm great with it. So for self-care,
Decision Squad.
For myself, I have a couple examples. I showed one very, very early at the beginning of this topic, but it's dumb. But I love peanut M&Ms. And these help.
You're so close to the right M&M. You're so close to the right M&M.
It's right there.
You just need to mash it with butter.
Nah.
And then you've got the right choice.
But it might not be the most healthiest choice, but whenever I have those make me feel happy. So if you can find something, obviously, I guess food related or snack related, that makes you happy, then just go for that. another self-care, I mean, it's an easy one for me to say, but Taekwondo is self-care. Like, obviously the exercising part of it, but man, nothing feels better than taking a big giant red bag and kicking it as hard as you freaking can. So there's that. And then also screaming at the top of your lungs. Because sometimes there's just times where, once again, I'm angry and all I want to do is just go outside and yell as loud as I can. And sometimes that's not most appropriate thing to do. So you can do that at Taekwondo.
I do have a version of that, and I would never do it at home. But at work, because I work with appliances, I have a couple junked refrigerator handles.
Okay.
Like door handles. And I will take them and I will go in the warehouse and I will just fucking beat them against some piece of metal or a girder or something like that for a little bit.
There you go. So yeah, just...
I call them my customer appreciation handles.
Nice. So yeah, just letting that energy out, having that release is definitely a good one. Because I also have a very bad habit of sometimes just keeping things in and holding on to them, and then just they, grow into their own thing.
It feels so good sometimes to hold on to anger, and it's such a trap.
Yeah.
To hold on to it's similar to what I've said about depression. I've said depression before depression is a warm bed on a cold morning. It's so easy to just stay in under the covers.
Yeah.
But you got to get up and get out of bed and get your day started. And, it can be the same way with that.
Yeah. So there's another one. And then, it's probably a simple one, but music. Just listen to music and turning it up. That can definitely be a good self-care one for me. Personally, it's usually like rock or metal and just letting that go.
Good choices.
And there's usually like specific songs that obviously speak to me. Karma by Seven Dust, whether it's acoustic or the original version, like I always can jam out to those anytime. Shinedown's Devour is another fucking amazing one for me. Almost Easy by Avenged Sevenfold. Like those are always ones I can go to and just like, I feel better because it's that more fast paced, I guess, of the music that, goes along with the how I'm feeling, I guess. And then another one I was thinking of as you guys were going was if there's, whether it's a big moment that was like made me feel a certain way, like my body like physically felt like a shiver or something, like rewatching those videos. Like there's a very stupid example, but in Injustice 2 they released a DLC trailer for, I think it was Pack 2 or whatever, but it had Adam, it had Enchantress, and then it had the fucking Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I don't know what it is, but that music and those cues, whenever the trench coat is pulled off to reveal, I believe it's Raphael there,
probably,
and then also the build up where they're jumping in the air and then like swoop in and Mikey's like coming at you, dude. Like I felt it right now just thinking about it and saying it. It's a literal physical chill through my body of like how awesome it is. I'm not even that in love with the Ninja Turtles, but somehow what they did with the music and everything is just like,
it connects with your inner child. Yeah. I had a really weird moment similar to that. It wasn't a smell thing.
Okay.
It's the weirdest smell memory connection I've ever had in my life. And I spent an hour tracking down the person in the store who smelled like this. It ended up being one of my coworkers, and she's awesome. So I'm not surprised it was her. But I was walking through the store, and I walked through, like, how when someone has perfume on and they walk, they kind of leave a little bit of a trail of that.
Yes.
I walked through that trail, and I smelled it, and I was immediately, it was 6th grade, winter break, and I was playing Ocarina of Time for the first time.
Wow, okay.
Nice.
Which is such a weird fucking reaction to have for perfume, because I was in 6th grade. There was like maybe one girl I had a crush on. I certainly wasn't wearing perfume, let alone that perfume.
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, something about that scent put me immediately, like I was on my basement floor playing that game with the controller and just like enraptured every minute of it. And then I completely ignored every actual duty I had and spent the rest of this, like the next hour and a half, like tracking down who had this? And I'm so glad it was a coworker, because if it had been somebody who had left the store, I'd still be like stressing about it.
Right. And then building off that point of Ocarina in Time, obviously video games. I can't think of like a specific one that would be my go-to, as you mentioned, like Epic Yarn earlier. But like, if there is a game that I'm really into at that time and going to play it, obviously that is a de-stress. And then I think last one, oh shit, I had it, and then where to go? Find it.
Brain.
Oh, okay.
Think sideways there.
Yeah. So thank you. So recent example. If you guys don't know, I'm going on a trip. Lady is as well, to California. We're going for my cousin's wedding, and then that's in San Francisco, and we're driving down to Anaheim, where we'll be visiting Universal and Disneyland. So I am in love with Disneyland, going as a kid and all those things. But recently, in preparation for it, just because I'm so giddy and excited, I've been watching a YouTuber called Tim Tracker, and just watching those videos recently, like, have just given me such dumb joy, seeing like, oh, these kids are having fun, or oh, we're riding this silly ride, or whatever it is. Just like the simple joys there have helped. Like, that's a self-care thing in general too. So I don't know, like, it, some of them are very simple examples, but I think it's just a matter of finding like whatever you do enjoy. If you focus on that, like you said, watching something at work or doing the app, like having that other thing in front of you to distract you sounds weird, but to take you away from those feelings of negativity.
Yeah, finding your Neverland, essentially.
Exactly. Like, I think that's just key for you. Finding like, what do you enjoy? Okay, cool. Then just go do that. Like, not just go do that. That sounds like me being a little bit mean about it. Like, oh, you're feeling sad? Just go do this. But like, maybe finding security in those things. Like, I think that's maybe a better way to say it.
It's not being mean, because sometimes you do need to be like, I'm at work, I'm doing whatever. I need to be selfish for a minute so I can take care of me, though.
Right? No, yeah, no, that's good.
It's totally
like me saying,
because sometimes that's what you got to do.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, I think that's what I got. What about Jeff? I don't think you mentioned the things at work.
I started this topic.
Well, no. But like, what were your self-care things? You mentioned the handles.
Oh, I mean, yeah, it was, like I want, like, Mystery Science Theater 3000 is a huge one for me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why. It's been just a consistent part of my life since I was like 5 or 6 years old. I remember waking up on Saturday mornings and watching it on the Sci-Fi Channel. No matter, like, all 3 different hosts, watching riff tracks, cinematic Titanic, all of it is just it's taking something stupid and finding a way to make it even more stupid fun. Mm-hmm. And I love, like, I've mentioned, like, I collect, I intentionally go and play bad games. I can be very analytical and critical, but I'm a very easy person to please. I can turn off that part of my brain and just enjoy stupid shit for what it is. And that might be a big part of it. It's just like, it's just reducing my brain down to this base, like, just a couple factors, and for whatever reason, that hits it. It's like, there's, shitty 50s sci-fi plus funny commentary, like, apparently it doesn't take much more to make me happy than bad puppetry and someone calling out the bad puppetry. Against some video games, but only some. Like Kirby's Epic Yarn, Yoshi, Woolly World was mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
That's another one. There's not a lot for video games that just make me feel immediately good. There's a lot of video games I really enjoy, but they won't, like, for a good proper depression, like, it wouldn't do it for me.
Yeah.
Reading too is a big thing. I really love sitting down with, I used to sit down with, like, some whiskey and like a David Wong book or a Robert Brockway book. Which if you guys, do you know who either of them are?
Nope.
Nope.
Okay. They both kind of follow along like Cthulhu stuff.
Okay.
But if it was written by somebody on drugs, like Cthulhu, but the protagonists are really stupid slackers. In fact, John Dies at the End was actually made into a movie by. I really recommend it. There's a point where like they're dealing with a ghost and they try and escape the basement they're in, and the ghost, instead of haunting them or attacking them, turns the door handle of the basement into a dick, so they won't want to touch it, so they can't go through the door.
Okay. Nice.
It, like, just, you know what? Now that I think about it, I think I just like really stupid things are what make me happy.
Fair enough.
That might just be it, honestly. Like stupid, simple things, you know?
Yeah.
I'm not a. We mentioned before the stream started. I am very much like a dog, in how I interact with the world. You know, it's like find it, I'll get more excited. You know, so it's just simple, dumb things that make me. You know, There's nothing complicated about it. It just is what it is, and it's dumb, and it knows it's dumb, and it's fine with that, and it's reassuring. You know, like I'm not smart. I'm not the best. I'm not the greatest at anything. But that doesn't mean I'm not good.
Thought of one more. Shout out to movies. I can think of one specifically that if I'm in a bad mood and I watch it, I can't be in a bad mood. Tommy Boy. Tommy Boy's a movie I can watch.
Tommy Boy. I have a complicated, because like Tommy oh god damn it! I live in the state he's from, and I can't think of his name.
Chris Farley?
Yes. Fucking, he grew up in the town I was born in.
Cool.
There's streets named after him. His parents live there still. He's buried in the same graveyard my grandma is. I remember when he died, and I was old enough that like I really looked up to him, and it was such, because that was the thing that I was like. You know, you had Dare in school and shit like that, but I was like, oh shit, drugs do shit.
Right.
So.
Yeah. Sean says, shout out to John Dies at the End. And also,
yes.
Sean says, the Paddington movies always get me in a good mood no matter what. The bear ones? The recent ones?
You know what? I will say,
or the
like,
new ones?
the Winnie the Pooh movie.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Like the idea of like the young pure innocent Christopher Robin grows up into this fucking work obsessed asshole.
Oh, I still need to watch that one.
It's so good. I watched it with Willow, and Willow fell asleep, and I was just like, I'm just gonna hold her and watch this and feel good about life.
Aw.
Nice.
That's another thing. Like just Steven Universe is our show. Like I mean, we started watching it, and it's that kind of thing. Like Patton Oswalt thing, where like he started watching. His kids started watching My Little Ponies.
Okay.
And like because of how his brain works, he got super into the lore and everything like that. Like Willow and I started watching Steven Universe, and she loves it because it's fun, and it's a cartoon, and it's about inclusivity and all this shit that she doesn't really understand because she's too young, like gender role issues and things like that. And I love it because of all that stuff. And like how it's so subtly designed for grown-ups, but it has all the trappings and bows and ribbons of the cartoons that you loved as a kid. That like I the first night we watched it, like we watched it for like 3 hours. She fell asleep, and then I watched it for like 4 more hours.
Nice.
It's
All right, Shonen. I'll definitely check those out. I was just double checking I had the right movies. But cool.
Paddington Bear. That's not the theme song. I don't fucking know what I was doing there.